So lately I have been doing quite a bit of exporting information and importing information with QuickBooks. And I mean, when I say quite a bit, I mean quite a bit. So it's a topic that's been on my mind. I really enjoy doing it, but it can be tedious. So, I thought I would share with you guys a few things that I've learned over the last few weeks from the projects that I was working on, and it might help you if you have things that you need to do regarding importing and exporting information. So the first thing is exporting information. Now, the way that I was kind of looking at it was exporting information from QuickBooks, but of course you could export information from other softwares and get it into a format importable for QuickBooks, but that's kind of a topic for another discussion. So information from QuickBooks, there's two ways that I like to do this. The first is to actually just go to the report that has the information that you want, probably customize to add as many columns as you think you might potentially need so that you're getting all of the information. And then you just hit the Excel button and export. Now, whenever you go to create a new Excel file, I found, this is one of the things that I learned, that it's much easier to select the .csv file type as opposed to just creating a new Excel file. So when you use the .csv, it goes much faster, astronomically faster in terms of getting your information exported. So then you're going to go open that .csv file and probably need to manipulate that data in some way so that all of your proper rows and columns to import that back into QuickBooks. The one thing, and I posted about this earlier in the week, is to watch out for leading zeros. So where those come into play is whenever you have things like zip codes, inventory item numbers that start with 0, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because when you open that CSV file, that's going to come up as 1, 2, 3, 4 without the 0 in front of it. So and again, that's something that, we can talk about that in the chat if you guys want to. It's just something important to be aware of, because you're going to wind up with kind of a mess if you don't pay attention to that. So that's the one way. The other way is to use a third-party tool. I like to use Transaction Pro Exporter. I find that's a really good way to get the data out of QuickBooks, and it puts it pretty much in the format that you're going to need to import it. It's just about import. I would recommend that if you use something like that you do review the data before you import, just to make sure that everything looks okay. So that's on the export side. On the import side, once we have those export files import ready, we can get them into QuickBooks, whether it's, we're creating a new file or whatever it is, whatever our reasoning was for needing to do this. Maybe you're just, adding new transactions. You can import lists by going to, let me just make sure I have the right menu here. So under the list menu, there's add, edit multiple list entries. And from there, you can do things like customers, vendors, items, and you can import those there. Be careful, because not all the columns are available. So it depends on how detailed your data is that you want to import. I really like to import multiple transactions. And again, I'm going to read real quick here. So that's going to be under the accountants menu, if you have that menu in your version, and selecting batch enter transactions. And from there, you can import invoices, you can import bills, credit card information. And the thing that I like about that is I found with at least the third-party app that I use, you can't import, like, for example, invoices and credit memos together. You have to do those in two separate files. Whereas with the batch enter transactions, it doesn't matter if you have pluses or minuses, QuickBooks will sort those out for you and get those into the right place. So I really like that feature. You might use a third-party app. We use Transaction Pro Importer primarily. And with that, you're going to open up Transaction Pro Importer, find the file that you want to import, the type, and it takes you through a wizard and imports your information. It's a pretty good, reliable way to get lots of information, and especially the things that QuickBooks won't allow you to do right from within QuickBooks. The last option is a program that we use sometimes called Q2Q. And if you want to create a new QuickBooks file from an old QuickBooks file and move things over, you can do that simultaneously within this Q2Q app. So you don't have to go through the exporting phase and the importing phase. You can just do that all. Well, it's a two-step thing, but you do it all from within that app. The only thing that I don't like about Q2Q is you don't get to see the transactions before you import them. So for me, I can get a little picky sometimes. I like to make sure I know what I'm looking at, what I'm bringing into my program. But if you have a fairly simple file, for sure, a good way to go, and it's a lot faster than any of the other methods.